Hi, my name is Sabrina, and I have just kind of a cool story of God's redeeming grace about how He's just been consistent even in the inconsistencies of life. I was raised in a non-Christian family. My parents were very moral and good people, but that didn't necessarily mean that we were doing what was right. My parents were not bad parents whatsoever, but just had worked full time. I just had this desire for love and attention and affection that I didn't necessarily feel like I was getting at home. I started to do things for other people's approval and just became so consumed with other people's opinions of me. Around third grade, my parents took me to church for the first time, and they had started to understand the Christian beliefs themselves. And so I basically was going to church with my family, and because I had this desire to please everyone and to just make everyone happy, I accepted Jesus, but I technically didn't understand what that meant. I'd be at school as like a third grader being mean and being a bully and over obsessing about everyone else's thoughts about me, and then I'd go to church and put on this good happy face and act like everything was okay. And that had continued all throughout my life. I never really truly understood the gospel, but I had the head knowledge, it just wasn't applied to my heart. Going into the 8th grade, I went to church camp, and at church camp, I truly understood what it meant to be a follower of Christ, and I made my faith my own, meaning that I truly understood that the gospel was not just for my parents or for good people, but it was for everyone. I'd like to say that after accepting Jesus, my life just got a million times better, but life still happened. Got involved with a guy in high school my freshman year, and I had hid it from my parents because I was really scared. I wasn't a really good judge of character, but we were dating for a couple of months, and I started to notice things were off, and it was an emotionally and verbally abusive relationship not too long after that. I had always had doubts of what people thought about me and if I was good enough, and this boy came into my life to tell me that I wasn't. That really just kind of took my heart away from the Lord, because I was so consumed with wanting to please Him and to be the girl that He expected of me, but that was never going to be fully fulfilled. After I had gotten out of the relationship, I really just kind of had a breaking point, and that's when my anxiety attacks began. In my mind, I told myself I was broken, and that brokenness made me begin to isolate myself, and so I was surrounded by all these people, and they all thought I was a great and Christian girl because that's where I wanted them to think that I was, but inside and internally, my mind was just chaotic, and I just kind of felt overwhelmed with the weight of the world, and my trust became more upon myself than on the Lord, and I truly just kind of lost who I was in the midst of my high school years. I had dated another guy my senior year of high school. I still felt myself placing my identity completely into this guy, and though he was a great guy and he didn't do anything that was hurtful to me in the ways that I had experienced in the past, I just kind of felt like I wasn't good enough. That just really kind of left a void in my heart, and it was because I was trying to fill that void with other people's opinions rather than the Lord. And even though I knew the underlying truth that the Lord loves me and He cares for me and He's created me uniquely and beautifully, I didn't believe it. And so I came to Liberty in 2014, which was awesome, but I was still in that relationship where my heart was not where it was supposed to be. I started to just kind of doubt where I was standing, which was really detrimental to my self-identity. And that's really when the Lord grabbed hold of me and said, Sabrina, you are loved and you are cared for, and what you've done in your past does not define who you are. Daily, I have to remind myself that I am loved and that I am good enough, and that other people's opinions of me should not define me, but the Lord should. The Lord is consistent to forgive, and that characteristic of love and nurture was something that I may have not had when I was younger, but that will continue to push me into being the better person, so that I can extend that love and that grace to others.